To bardzo jest pocieszające, bo w takim razie wszystko to, co my, krytycy filmowi, piszemy o pana filmach, jednak może nie jest zupełnie bezsensowne.
Is what?
Maybe it's not useless, the things we are writing about your movies, we film critics.
Sure. No, totally. I mean, I really, you know, I really get a bit sad when people are trying, like, to know if their interpretation is correct or not, you know. What is interesting about the interpretations is that they show more of who you are rather than what the film is. That's the funny thing, you know. Sometimes, like, critics in, I don't know, you know, like some French guys that try to be too wise and some things like that, they are only showing who they are, and they are, and that's what it's all about, to show who you are, how can you look, how do you look at things, and that's wonderful. A film or any piece of art should be a vase, you know, like a glass or a cup that is objective. It's not just whatever. It's just not relativism. It is something very concrete, very clear, very well structured, strong, but that has to have space for each individual. But because I also spoken about that, that's when the film comes to an end, when it comes in contact with the viewer, and then the dialogue starts, and then the viewer fills the cup with what he is. And it's not, oh, is it right to put milk here or beer or water? No, it just shows what you like, beer or milk or water. So it's not a matter of being right or wrong. That it all comes from the childish approach to cinema, of games, you know, like children's games, children games.
Proszę Państwa, jeżeli są jakieś pytania, tutaj jeszcze z tyłu i tutaj, to prosimy z tyłu najpierw.
Ja mam takie pytanie. Jak to się stało, że pan Carlos Reygadas, prawnik z wykształcenia, stał się Carlosem Reygadasem filmowcem? Czy była może jakaś przemiana, zupełnie jak u bohaterów pana filmów, jakiś moment w pana życiu, gdzie okazało się, dobra, będę teraz robił filmy i może kiedyś dostanę nagrodę w Cannes? Czy był taki moment?
Do you want personal advice? No, I'm just telling that because he's a lawyer himself, and no, you know, I just, as I said before, it sounds like superficial, but it's actually not at all. Some lightning hit you and you completely changed everything in your life, and not at all.
Being the devil, maybe.
The devil, yes, yeah, like a Faustian kind of thing, you know. But no, it's not like that at all. It's, you know, the soul, the head remains the same. Just these external activities change. So it was that.
Mamy tam jeszcze drugie pytanie, dobrze mi się wydawało?
It sounds easy once that it's happened, but of course I had doubts and it was difficult, and whoever does it, it will be difficult. I don't think it's going to be easy, but you have to give it a try if you want.
Proszę bardzo.
Chciałam pana przeprosić za moje pytanie. Pan nie mógł mi pomóc, bo pan nic o mnie nie wie. Może tylko powiem, że mam na imię Joanna. Ja dzięki pana filmom odpowiedziałam sobie na pytanie, co mnie tak pasjonuje w kinie. Ale nie będę na ten temat mówić, bo to jest dla mnie. Natomiast chciałam panu podziękować, że pan jest właśnie tak uczciwy, rzetelny wobec rzeczywistości. To, co łączy te dwa tak bardzo różne filmy, o których mówiłam, to to, że to jest życie takie nieprzekłamane. Przyznaję, że chciałam pana złapać na jakimś błędzie, bo nawet w Rok Tygrysa nie mogłam oglądać, bo ten uciekinier z więzienia był za czysty, miał za czyste ręce i za czystą twarz. Scenografia była fantastyczna, no ale scenografia to jest życie. W obu tych filmach dał pan tak wspaniałą materię, że teraz każdy z nas może sobie robić wszystko, co potrafi. I cała ta nasza dyskusja bardzo mi pomogła w zrozumieniu tego filmu, bo ja poczułam pana jako człowieka. I teraz chcę coś powiedzieć, proszę pana, tylko naprawdę, państwo się zaraz zaczniecie śmiać, ja się nie wstydzę, powiem. Bardzo mi pan pomógł, mówiąc, że to był diabeł, bo ja w nim widziałam koziołka Matołka, za co pana bardzo przepraszam.
I agree with everything you say, but except for your apology. Please, you don't have to apologize. When you made the question, I didn't feel anything wrong. Actually, all of the contrary. So you really shouldn't. Please don't apologize. I have to tell you something. Just one last thing. And once when I released this film, some journalist who was from Canada came to me and said angrily that she worked in the radio and she wanted to pitch the film to her audience. Apparently pitching it's a verb I don't really understand, but it's like describing very quickly the film for people that want to know very quickly what it is about. It's a stupid concept. And she was very angry because she couldn't do that. And I just said to her, that's the greatest compliment I have received so far. Because you cannot say, yes. So no, I really respect very much your approach to the whole thing.
Proszę Państwa, będziemy musieli powoli kończyć, ale ja muszę zadać jeszcze jedno pytanie. Pamiętam, że wiele lat temu zaskoczyło mnie to, kiedy powiedział Pan o Bitwie w niebie, że chciał Pan udowodnić, że akt seksualny czy akt seksu oralnego może być też aktem mistycznym. Po tym, kiedy obejrzały się wszystkie Pana filmy dotychczas zrobione, właściwie wydaje się to dość oczywiste. Chciałem zapytać, czy zgodziłby się Pan z tym, że jeżeli jest jakiś element niezwykłego mistycyzmu w Pana filmach, pomijając ten poziom religijno-socjologiczny, o którym rozmawialiśmy wcześniej, tylko mówimy o właśnie filozoficznym teraz, tak, duchowym, to jest on tak naprawdę w spojrzeniu kamery, że to właśnie ta kamera, która w ostatnim filmie genialnie to widać, że to właśnie tam jest perspektywa, no można powiedzieć, nie z tego świata trochę i że to dzięki temu filtrowi, którym jest kamera, te filmy mają taką duchową, transcendentalną, mistyczną siłę, jaką mają, moim zdaniem.
Particularly in the last film, you are saying?
Yes.
Well, I'm happy you feel that way. But that's exactly what I've tried to do, you know. Sorry, I was just listening to a Polish that it just went off. Yes, actually, you know, in this last film, when the man has this sort of epiphany or revelation at the end, it's a small one, it's not a big epiphany. I didn't want a huge epiphany or anything like that, just a small light, like a little light on a wall that probably shows you there's much more light behind. He says, I've seen today how everything is alive, how everything is shining all of the time. So the film is also about that. Mostly it's about that. So we've been talking about framing, about the blur image, about the central defined, very clear image, and the time. We haven't talked about the time to photograph things and the light that you have to use and the sound that you have to use also to shoot something, or let come to shoot something in this funnel. But I believe that is true, that everything is alive. Doorknobs or those horrible plastic bottles too. So maybe you have felt some of that with the framing, with the time and everything, and that's why you are talking about that camera work as something probably little mystical. It shows more of you than some people just think it's really long and boring, you see. But it's subjective. It's just that shot of that dog there waiting next to the bed, looking at that man. That's all. It's just a shot of the dog. But I don't know why, but sometimes if you frame it correctly, that's the magic of cinema again, and of certain arts like painting and photography.
Of the great directors also.
Well, yeah, sometimes, I suppose, I don't know, but you look at it, you frame it correctly, and you know that if it's a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, it's not right. It is exactly there. And it is the perfect means of expression. We talked about the time, I talked about the time and the frame. And those two things are absolutely the essence of cinema, not of cinema necessarily as a finished film, but of the creation of cinema. That's what matters. And if you see, those are the two things that they cannot teach in school, in cinema school. They never will tell you how long to make a shot. I mean, there's no single course or a single day when the professor can tell you, if you shoot a car and next to a road, you have to do it for 5 seconds. You know, that's only depending on you. Exactly the same thing as when you go to a museum and you see a painting. No, there's no indication how long do you have to look at it. And that only depends on you. So that again will show more of who you are and the way you look at things, rather than, in the United States probably soon they will start recommended viewing time 3 minutes or something like that, you know. But it's ridiculous. And same thing goes for the framing. They can show you about Orient proportions and Greek objective definitions of art and things like this, but many people that know about that don't have the feeling for framing, nevertheless. And people that don't know anything about that may have the feeling for framing. So it's all there in the way you look at things. It probably comes out of the respect or the admiration you can have for objects and people and animals or nature, I suppose.
Proszę Państwa, no, trudno zdecydować sobie lepsze podsumowanie naszych spotkań tutaj w Gazeta Cafe. Nie myślałem, że to będzie aż tak wyjątkowe spotkanie, jakie było. Bardzo dziękuję. Carlos Reygadas, bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you for coming very much.